Here we go. We're here, folks. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sportskeeda Survivor Series post-game review show. I'm your host, Joe Lowry, and today we are joined by two of wrestling greats. First up, he is a four-time European champion as well as an Intercontinental champion. Let's welcome to the show, D'Lo Brown. Welcome, D'Lo.
What's going on, Joe? How you doing today? What's going on, everybody?
What's going on there? And second, we got let's welcome Sportskeeda's contributor as well as former WCW World Champion, Vince Russo. Vince, how are you?
All right, man. All right, quiet down. Quiet down. Enough. Hey.
Vinny, I got the baby face pop.
I'm all right, Joe. How are you, man?
Well, I sound like I'm coming to you from my locker room. I don't know what's up with my microphone, so I hope you guys can bear with me on this one. So, anyways, 38th annual Survivor Series from the Rogers Center in Vancouver is now in the books. I was talking with D'Lo before the show went live, and it's a case of the surprise that didn't happen. Vince, really quick, what did you think? Quick recap of the whole show.
Overall, I thought it was a good show. I thought the women's match just didn't cut it. LA Knight and Nakamura was but the final three matches I thought brought it home. Kaiser, Braun Breaker, Sheamus, Gunther and Damian, and the men's war games. I thought the last three jobs were done really, really well.
Right. What did D'Lo? What do you think? Quick thoughts.
Overall, again, I agree with you, Vince. I don't think the girls were on point, and it felt like that 5 minute start and then the 3 minutes in between just felt desperately long, right? Because there was lack of action. I'm also not a big fan of everyone coming to the ring and immediately looking under the ring for weapons. Oh yeah. They did a better job of that in the main event, where only a couple guys got weapons. By far. The best match of the night was the IC triple threat. You're looking, Braun Breaker's a future world champion. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I thought the only appropriate finish for the men's war games was appropriate for where you are in this story, and it delivered. So overall, very solid pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was. To me, it was okay. I've seen better. But definitely the women's match was, I don't know what to say. I mean, it looked like slow motion. It looked like they weren't working, kind of lazy, so to speak. But, it is what it is. I want to thank everybody who's tuning in. Don't forget, folks, if you are joining us right now, please hit that like button and subscribe to Sportskeeda. We have excellent programming on here. They're growing, so it's good stuff. So anyways, what we'll do is we'll go through the matches. We'll do a grade of 1 to 5, and depending on how you grade it, you can tell us why you thought so. Vince, I'll start with you. We got to do it. The women's war game match: Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae against Team Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley. What would you do for that match? What would you give it?
Well, I got to tell you, and I was, I saw a coach, Jonathan Coachman made this comment. He was on Twitter, and he was right about this. I think you guys would agree. I think D'Lo would agree. I mean, D'Lo has agented many matches in his career. Right. D'Lo, I thought it was a huge mistake to send Nia Jax out there first.
Without a doubt, the first person to be in there should be a little more up-tempo, get the people into it. Nia, just by her nature, is slow and methodical, and that's her style, and it doesn't bode well to get the crowd excited for what's going on.
And also, too, D'Lo, I think she's going to be the first one to blow up, too. Yeah. A woman her size, she's just going to blow up, and I think that's what happens. I just think, D'Lo and Joe, weird choice, I think. D'Lo, what do you think would be the reasoning behind sending her out there first?
I don't know, because they didn't establish dominance with her. She didn't just destroy everybody who came in. And you got a point, like, you don't see Vader go number 1 in the Royal Rumble. So you got to protect those talent from themselves sometimes. I would have liked to seen her be the heavy and be the last one in and just wreck shop when she got into the ring.
Right. I mean, I was about to tweet it out, but Jonathan Coachman beat me to it. She was gassed. She was totally gassed. I didn't know what they were going to do with her when it came out. There was some crazy camera angles. We missed a lot of the great shots. Of course, if you talk about Tiffany Stratton doing her moonsault, and of course, Io Sky, the camera. I don't know if that was a proper angle, Vince. What did you think of that angle?
Yeah, I don't know, man. This just did not work. I mean, on just so many fronts. I mean, this just did not work. And D'Lo, I know you trained what's her name? I'm drawing a blank. D'Lo, who's the female you train? That's with the other two girls, Shayna Baszler. What's her name?
Oh God, what's her freaking name? I forget her wrestling name there now.
Who?
Zoe Stark.
Zoe Stark. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, D'Lo, I got to ask you this, man. In a match like this, right? You got to have your best workers in that ring. And as I said, D'Lo, you've been an agent for hundreds of matches. D'Lo, do you think the best female workers were in that ring for this match?
No, not at all. And they didn't have the proper chemistry together. It seemed like they were all trying to do 10 different things out there instead of working for one cohesive match. And definitely I don't believe the best workers were in the ring in the females' war games tonight.
Yeah.
But what I really feel bad for was Raquel Rodriguez. She came out and they were literally silent. And the only way she could get a pop was to try and pretend to take the table out. And that's all she could do. And I didn't, it was dead. It was flat. I don't know why.
The people are just not invested in her. There's no connection. You can just tell. And that's not, that's not a knock or a shot. It's just, you can tell when the people are connected to you and connected to a talent, and they just go, meh. They didn't have any kind of, they're nowhere near connected to it the way they should be for someone in that high profile of match.
Right. It did feel a little forced in some instances as well. So, Vince, scale of 1 to 5, what would you give that one?
Bro, I'm giving this a 1, Joe. Listen, I always want to say this. I always do want to say this. I've got to say this. This is why I was in the business for so long, and I always had a respect for the talent. The talent, listen, man, they never phone it in. I mean, they always go balls to the wall. All the women in that ring worked hard, without a shadow of a doubt. But I kind of think that goes without saying. I'm not taking anything away from their work, but man, this Joe was just not happening, man.
Not for a kickoff match. What do you think, D'Lo? Scale of 1 to 5 for the women's war game.
I'm probably going to go about a 2 just because I'll never – and I'm going to second what Vince said. There is none of the women that were in that match tonight phoned it in or took the night off or, were in third gear. They worked their tails off and they worked hard. It just didn't click. Right. And that happens. That happens sometimes. It just didn't click.
Yeah, Raquel Rodriguez took a beating. Her back, her elbows were bloody.
Yeah, I mean, those ladies beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah, they did. I mean, obviously the two high-profile spots, the biggest one obviously being Rhea Ripley's rib tied off the top rope. That saved it for me. I gave it a 2.5.
Yeah, great. That was a really good finish and strong for Rhea.
And Vince, I think you tweeted out too, that was a safe thing with Rhea pinning Liv Morgan. It's not a title win or anything like that, but she gets the upper hand in the so-called feud.
Yeah, I had no problem with the finish or anything like that, but I don't know. Joe, sometimes and maybe D'Lo can chime on this. Joe, I think sometimes the women just try too hard and they're looking at it as competing with the men. They got to stop that, man. It's a different type of match. Nobody's comparing you to the men. Nobody's making that comparison. Go out there and have the kind of match that you women can have. I think, Joe and D'Lo, you're one of the boys. Joe, I think part of the problem is they put way too much pressure on themselves rather than just go out and have the kind of match that you can have.
Yeah. D'Lo, you agree with that?
I have been around a ton of women in this industry in terms of agenting their matches. And my only thought I always say to them is just go do the best match that you are capable of doing. Right. And if you stick within your wheelhouse and don't try to stretch outside of that, you're going to have a great match where everybody's going to talk positively about it. It's when you try to extend yourself and do things you're not comfortable with or you don't know how to do, i.e. those chair shots. None of those girls knew how to carry a chair or how to swing one. And you could see it. Yeah. So as long as they stay in their wheelhouse and in their, what they're capable of doing, it's going to be a killer match.
Right. Vince, just to recap what you said about trying too hard, Bianca Belair came out and immediately she started throwing stuff for the ring to get that pop, to get the crowd going. And, I'm sure it was part of the storyline, but yeah, trying too hard. Yeah, I definitely would see that with the women right now, and they should just be themselves and do whatever. But, storyline wise, we don't know where that's going. I mean, Tiffy almost cashed in. She got caught, Io Sky, with the fire extinguisher. So that nullified that. So you still got that storyline going. And then, of course, they keep talking about Io Sky being the next contender. But now you got Rhea Ripley, who just pinned Liv Morgan. So you're going to have some type of triangle with that. What do you think, Vince? The storyline continues with Rhea and Liv?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume so, but I mean, Joe, I just got to tell you, I mean, me personally, I'm tired of it. I just am. I mean, the WWE, listen, man, they're going to go to both shows being 3 hours, and man, they drag everything out. And listen, I don't have a long attention span, and I know a lot of people don't. And I just think that sometimes they just really drag things out. That's just my opinion, man.
Yeah. D'Lo, I mean, you talk about the commercials and everything. I felt like I was watching Raw. The what was it, like at least almost 7 minutes in between everything with commercials. It was crazy.
Yeah, there were long beats in between matches, and I'm not for a pay-per-view or a premium live event. I'm sorry. It just feels like the match should just flow. So match, intro package, match. There shouldn't be a Slim Jim commercial stuck in there.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in the entrances when they were coming out. I'm like, there's a commercial in the corner.
Yeah, so, it breaks up the flow of the show for me. And I get it. You gotta earn that revenue. I just wish there was different ways to drop that, advertisement in there, a crawl across the bottom or product placement, something other than a full-on commercial, and let's just stop.
Yeah, we do see the comments coming in, folks. We'll, thank you for commenting. We'll get to them as we go along. If you do have any questions for Vince and D'Lo Brown, you can fire those off as well. Troll Pats, he loves D'Lo and he loves Vince. You guys are getting some love.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, awesome sauce for the donation. What costs more, Joe's 70 WWF belt or D'Lo's couch?
Hey, bro, this is the casting couch here.
All right, we'll move on to that one. United States Championship match, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This one's a weird one for me, only because Shinsuke just came back and all of a sudden he's getting a U.S. title shot. D'Lo, I'll start with you. What did you think of the match? 1 to 5, and your reason for it.
I'll once again, I'll go a 2, and call me crazy, but I knew LA Knight was putting Shinsuke over by the way LA Knight walked to the ring.
Yeah, they even talked about it.
Like you could tell he had. I'm not gonna call it boo-boo face. You could just tell.
D'Lo, just call it boo-boo face. Call it. Call it. Say it, D'Lo. Say it.
It just you could. I literally put in my notes. LA Knight's losing.
You think they told him in Gorilla that was going to happen?
No, he knew that. He knew that for a while. He just was probably upset all day about it.
Yeah, he even dropped the title on the way to the ring. That spread.
And those things right there are little things that you see as one of the boys.
Yeah,
those are little subliminal messages you're sending out. And this was another match that didn't click. Both guys are great athletes, great workers, and it just seemed like it was piecemeal together, and bit by bit, there was no story there. It was just get through 12, 18 minutes.
You know, Joe, if you go back and look at old Attitude era shows, when D'Lo was on the short end of the stick, the head wiggle was just not the same. The head wiggle was a little slower, Joe. You knew by the head wiggle, man.
You knew something's up. I hear you.
Had my tells.
Vince, 119-day title reign for LA Knight, now in the books. What did you think of the match?
A couple of things, like Joe, Michael Cole, Michael Cole was there when I was there, Joe. So that tells you how long Michael Cole. But Michael Cole cannot say. He literally said, if Nakamura loses this match, he's done.
Yeah.
So I knew immediately, okay, well, Nakamura ain't losing the match. Like, bro, don't say stupid things like that, because you're giving away the freaking finish. Yeah. But I will say this, Joe. Listen, they needed to put Nakamura over, because if they didn't, this would have been the exact play they pulled.
Oh, Vince froze.
Yeah. What's that?
You froze for a second.
Okay, I'm saying they needed to put Nakamura over, make him a player again, because, they did the same thing with Rollins when they brought him back, and, I know you're back, and then they just beat him to death. LA Knight does not need a title. He's over. They like the character. They like the gimmick. They definitely put the belt on the right person here. You got to do something with Nakamura.
Yeah, I think overall, Nakamura's been back not even a month, and I'm saying to myself, if he loses this match, it's, a la Ricochet in AEW, you're getting buried. So I thought the funny part about the whole thing was the ending of the match when they showed the Otis commercial with no pants. I thought that was very entertaining to tie that advertising in at the end of the match. But nonetheless, Shinsuke, new champion. Braden Matthews, European champ. I think that's a shout out to D'Lo Brown. Thank you very much. All right, 1 to 5, really quick. Vince, would you give that match?
Yeah, I'll give it a 2.5. It was mediocre. It was mediocre. Yeah.
D'Lo, what do you think? 1 to 5.
I'll give it a 2, 2.5. It was. No one got hurt. They got through it. And they put the title on the right guy, and hopefully LA Knight is off to bigger and better things.
Right, that's be good. Awesome, great stuff there. All right, moving on. Hey, everybody, if you are joining us live, feel free to hit that like button. And, of course, if you have not subscribed to Sportskeeda Wrestling, great stuff coming your way. All right, triple threat match, Intercontinental title match, Braun Breaker, Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser. You knew you were going to get a banger with this one. Vince, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, these guys really, really, really worked their asses off. And, I just got to say, man, that Kaiser gets it. I really believe, Joe, and I tweeted this out during the match, he may be the most underrated player on that entire roster. This guy gets it all around. And, listen, Braun Breaker is on, up and coming. Sheamus is always going to give you a solid match. But, man, when they turn Kaiser babyface against Gunther, they can really, really do some with him. He gets it, man.
Yeah. You think Gunther is going to face Kaiser at some point?
Oh, you got to. Yeah, you got to go there.
He has to.
Yeah. D'Lo, what did you think of this one, this banger match?
To me, you want to give a 1 to 5, that was a 5. It was the best match of the night.
Yeah.
And, I'll go piece by piece. Sheamus has been a steady player for a long time, and I'm amazed he's still out there and he's working at a high level. Braun Breaker, future world champion. He's the best part of his dad and his uncle combined to this force of nature. And dude, Kaiser, my new favorite player. Yeah. From the second he walks out, he's real. He's the thing. And just he knows when to backpedal sell. He knows when to turn it up. He knows when to snarl that face the right time. His selling's on point. I mean, I like Kaiser a lot. And when he flips on Gunther, that's going to be something.
It's funny because all three of these guys have wrestled at some point over Raw the last couple of months. So I kind of expected to get, the big spear by Braun Breaker, Ludwig Kaiser's move outside the ring and all stuff. Did you get a sense, Vince, on this that it was like rinse, lather, repeat with this type of match, seeing that they've wrestled each other already?
Man, I really didn't, because there was a part of me that, like you always there was always a feeling that Kaiser was going to sneak in the back door. Mm-hmm. They kept that feeling there. Yeah. And, and I'm not saying, listen, I had no problem with Braun Breaker going over. But the way the match was laid out, man, they just made you feel like Kaiser may steal this thing. So I thought they laid it out very well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely time. We could have another match too. Who knows?
Oh, there's a ton of matches that you can have between Kaiser and Sheamus, because Kaiser was always the foil to Sheamus, and it was perfectly placed in. It was a great story in terms of Kaiser wasn't physically as dominant as everybody else, but he was always in the right place at the wrong time to screw it up for everybody else.
Right.
So good stories.
Sheamus was very quick to show off his back on social media. He got torn up big time. So Trill Platts is saying WWE talents. Oh, I missed it. WWE talents elevates their game at the PLEs.
I got to address that. I got to address that, Joe, because I don't watch any PLEs. I only watch what I'm paid to watch. That's why I watch this. And I got to tell you, what I saw tonight is a far cry from the weekly product I see on TV. The weekly product I see on TV every week sucks compared to what I saw on tonight's show, especially the last three matches.
Yeah, D'Lo, you agree with that?
I think they showed up tonight, and if it's anything like when I was there, the lights are brightest on PLEs or pay-per-views. The lights are brightest, and you got to deliver, because those spots are coveted and they're not guaranteed, and you've got to show yourself to continually be a player on those nights. So yes, I thought they really nailed it tonight.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you give this one, D'Lo?
Oh, 5. That's a 5.
Vince, what would you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 4.
4. That's it. Highest match of the night so far. Interesting, good stuff there. Hey, folks, keep the comments coming. Slam that like button. Thank you all for joining us for this live Survivor Series post-review show. We got two legends of the game with us, Vince Russo and D'Lo Brown. Moving on to what I'm calling probably the match of the night for me. World Heavyweight Championship match. Gunther versus Damian Priest. Great storytelling, physical. You get the goods with Gunther. What do you think, Vince? How'd you like this match?
I gave the last match a 4, Joe, because this was a freaking 5.
Yeah.
This was old school psychology. The heel never stopped working the injury. And bro, I swear to God, Damian Priest never stopped selling that shoulder. Joe, how many times, Joe and D'Lo, I see this. This is why I freaking hate Rollins. This is why I hate Rollins, because you see Rollins, he'll sell something, and then he'll come back with a flurry offense, and then he'll go back to it. Bullshit. Yeah. This was so freaking believable, because Priest never stopped selling the shoulder. Gunther never stopped going to the shoulder. And Joe, this is why you don't need 50-50 booking, because when you tell the story the right way, they totally protected Damian Priest in this loss. Totally freaking protected him. This was old school psychology. I mean, I swear to God, D'Lo, I'm watching this and I'm like, is Pat Patterson still alive? This is something that Pat Patterson, D'Lo, would have laid out this match from start to finish. This was a 5+.
Yeah. It's funny you say old school, because that's what is in my notes. This is a very old school match, from the subtlety of hurting your shoulder, giving a shoulder tackle. Not on a move, just the subtlety of hurting it there, looking down, looking at the ref, saying, I'm okay, and then suddenly selling it, and Gunther's eyes lighting up when he saw an opportunity, and then the heel just went to work.
Yeah.
And it was, yes, this is a very laid out Pat Patterson 101 right here. Solid. This would have played in any era of professional wrestling.
Yes.
From the 50s to today, this match would have played in any crowd at any time and got over. And that is one of the biggest things that's missing. You had a heel who had an objective. You had a babyface that sold and fought from underneath. And there was desperation. There was hurt, angst. There was every kind of emotion you wanted in a match. Boom, right there. And, of course, Damien was protected on the end with Finn Balor coming in. So even taking the L, it wasn't his fault.
Right. It was, I thought, physical, good storytelling, wrestling. He even had a tribute to Scott Hall. He did the Razor's Edge. That was a great move. Gunther stopping Balor.
That was good, yes. Yeah,
yeah, because it showed he didn't want his help. He didn't need his help.
Right.
And now he can be pissed off at Finn as well.
Right.
So it was well done.
Yeah, I thought, like I said, match of the night. I don't know who produced or booked this one, but kudos to them. But selling that shoulder, the whole match was great. He was even, I think the ref was mic'd up, and at one point you could hear Damien selling it, saying, give me a minute, give me a minute.
Yeah,
you know, when Joe, he fell to the floor, he's like, give me a minute. And even the crowd even chanted, you effed up, because they thought that was a mistake until Finn came out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was just it was well done. I like how Finn didn't have to run down from the gorilla so everybody could see him there. He came through the crowd, easy in. Oh my God, shock moment. Well done. It was well laid out.
Let me ask you, Vince, obviously a former writer for WWE and so forth. Did you feel there was going to be a Finn Balor or some type of judgment?
They didn't need him, man. They definitely didn't need him. I'm telling you, they could have protected Priest by him just passing out. That's all they had to do at the end, man. He was selling that shoulder all match, finally to the point of, I'm not tapping out, brother. So I'm gonna have to pass. They didn't need Balor in that spot either way. But again, I just want to say, Joe, this is where, you've got to give kudos to whoever the agent of the match was. Just like the agent of the women's match, there's got to be some heat on him. There's got to be some heat on that. D'Lo will tell you, D'Lo was a wrestler and an agent. And whatever agent laid out that match that told Priest, sell, you got to give credit to the agents. And when it's a stinker, they got to take responsibility for that too.
Sure. D'Lo,
without a doubt, he's just as responsible as the talent in the ring for the quality of the match.
Wait, let me ask you guys a question real quick, especially D'Lo and Vince. We'll go back to the women's war game match real quick. You see it unfolding as, really bad. What do you do in that situation? Can you signal down to the ring to tell these ladies to pick it up, do something? I mean, what happens in this situation, D'Lo?
I mean, you have contact with the referee, and you can tell them to pick up the pace, but there's really not much you can do from an agent standpoint once they're in the ring.
Right. Vince, what about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, D'Lo knows. I mean, he's the agent. I mean, the agent is right there at gorilla position while this match is going on, and if he's got to bark orders to the referee to get to the women to the women out there, I mean, that's what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
You think they got the good job signal from Triple H when they went back to gorilla?
I could tell you this, Joe. They wouldn't have gotten it from Vince. I mean, I could definitely tell you that they wouldn't have gotten it from Vince, man.
D'Lo, what do you think? You think they got the high fives when they went back to gorilla?
I think they've got everybody did well. Let's go sit and talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go sit and talk about it.
Let's go sit and talk about it.
Yeah.
So everybody's in agreement. This is a five-star match.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gunther and Damien Priest. Good stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody. Keep those comments coming. You're watching the Sportskeeda Survivor Series post-review show with legends Vince Russo and D'Lo Brown. All right, we're getting to the match of the night here, the big one, the men's war game match. We had Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and of course, just added CM Punk taking on Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, Jacob Fatu, and Bronson Reed. This was what it was. I guess it was expected. I felt like the crowd was just waiting for this match all night, and they got the bonus match with Gunther and Damian Priest. Vince, what'd you think of the men's war games?
Joe, I got to tell you, man, because I do watch Raw and SmackDown every week, for Sportskeeda. I watch it every week. And Joe, I swear, I kept asking myself the question, even as far as last night, why do I care who wins this match? There's no stakes. There's no stake. It's not, if it would have been like, okay, the losers got to break up the tribe, like give me something. But I went into this thing and I'm like, why do I care what side wins? However, watching the match was a different story.
Great story.
Great storytelling, enjoyable match, great spots, great setups. And again, man, whoever was the agent of this match did an unbelievable job. But, Joe, unlike the girls, this plays into it too. And D'Lo will tell you with all the work he did with the Nation and DX, bro, chemistry does come into play. Mm-hmm. These guys have worked with each other dozens and dozens and dozens of times where it, like D'Lo says, it looked like the women were on different pages. These guys had worked together so many times. So it was really just a matter of, the drama and the right spots at the right time. And like I said, I mean, going into this thing, I really could have cared less who won it, but this was artistry, man. They pulled off a tremendous match.
D'Lo, what do you think? Men's war game match.
I thought it was well done. I was into the subtleties of the match and the storytelling of the match. The interaction between Punk and Roman inside the cage. I like the wow moments. The moment where, Punk saves Roman off the table and then Roman reaches down for Punk to get that reaction from the people. They took the people on a journey through this match and made them care even more about this match through the storytelling. So they were invested coming into the match. At the end, the people cared even more because of the subtleties inside the match.
Yeah, there were great spots in the match. We got Instagram, a wrestling historian donation for $2. Thank you. What's your favorite? Oh, we got questions. What's your favorite classic Survivor Series team match? Vince, I'll ask you if you can name one right off the bat.
Yeah, bro, I can't. I can't remember. I can't. I wish my memory's shot when I've seen so much wrestling in my day. My memory's shot.
D'Lo, you got one? You got a favorite Survivor Series team match?
I don't got a favorite Survivor Series team match. I just got a favorite Survivor Series. I'm a big fan of the 5-on-5, everyone at the ring at the same time. I love the war game concept. I just don't. It feels kind of drawn out sometimes. Yeah, but I like the standard 5-on-5. Let's go.
There's a couple of things I don't like. Like, I don't know how you feel about this, Joe or D'Lo. Like, I don't like the match doesn't start till everybody's in there. Why? Why? And here's another thing, D'Lo, like you can talk about it. Guys, I understand. These guys are busting their asses and they're shot. But I just got to tell you, man, as just a casual fan watching this, I just hate when everybody's down and dead. When you got 10 guys down, it's like I hate when I see that, man. D'Lo, is it hard to not have that spot where all 10 guys are down at once?
Well, it is kind of, it's not hard. It's just usually use that spot to catch your breath, let the crowd reset because you're about to take them on a journey.
Yeah.
And you want to get them to take a breath. I'll go back to when you're right about the match doesn't start until everybody gets in. If I'm a heel, why do I want to get punched in the face for free when nothing matters?
Right.
Yeah.
And if I can't win the match, why do I want to be in there right then?
And not only that, what the advantage doesn't come into play.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The advantage comes into play when it's a 2-on-1 and you can end the match like that, or even when. The advantage means nothing if it doesn't start till all 10 guys are in there.
Yeah. How about the fact that Tama Tonga went to pin Jimmy Uso when it was 1-on-1?
Right.
And the crowd started chanting, "You effed up," and all that stuff. And I'm like, no, he's a wrestler. He's going to pin him.
Right.
Actually, that is not a "you effed up" a chant, because every wrestler from day one of wrestling school is taught when a man is down, you cover him.
Yeah, of course.
So the oddity is not covering someone. So every wrestler's going to go for the pin.
And Vince, to get back to you, like everybody's down. Jacob Fatu was invincible. He was the Samoan werewolf, jumping around, kicking out. I mean, he got bulldogged by CM Punk and popped right back up. And you get the announcer saying, "This guy's superhuman." But 5 minutes later, he's in the corner dead and he can't get up.
I know. Yeah. And you know what, Joe? That's great that you point that out, because if he would have been the only guy up, that kind of gets his character over.
Right. I agree.
If everyone was down and he stood up and looked around, now he's a monster.
Right.
Yeah.
Now he's but I will tell you, mark my words, give me a year or a year and a half, Jacob Fatu will be a world champ.
Oh, definitely. I agree with that. And you're going to have more Samoan Dynasty guys coming in. You got Ziller coming in probably soon. You got Lance Anoa'i is in the background there. I think he's with NXT now. So you're going to have a lot of bloodline members coming in, so to speak. Where do we go from here? Okay, Roman pins Solo. They beat him up. Is, the OTC. I mean, if you were writing this, Vince, where would we go with this?
Joe, I got to tell you, and again, please, everybody understand, I am not anti-WWE. I think I've made that clear during this show.
Yeah.
But Joe, I listen, we saw it happen with the NWO.
Yeah.
They beat that thing into the ground to the point where it didn't matter anymore, and people got tired of it. And Joe, that opened up a tiny little hole for the Attitude Era, because they played it into the ground. Bro, I've been feeling that for like the last month. And I mean, and now, I'm reading online, this Samoa is at NXT and they signed, and I'm like, bro, like, how much are you going to do with this? Because, we saw what happened with the NWO, where there was a black and there was a red and there was a blue and there was a green, and it meant nothing. I mean, to me, like, gosh, this should be the end of it. But I just have a feeling that they're just going to continue it on.
D'Lo, what do you think? Where do we go from here?
And that's an amazing question, and I don't know. And look, the bloodline is a good thing. It has been great for the business, but there is the saying, too much of a good thing.
Right.
And you run the risk of eating too much candy on Halloween and getting sick. And I really like the bloodline is probably the coolest thing that's happened in wrestling in the last 20 years.
Right.
At some point, you got to go, okay, Roman's the top dude, move on.
Yeah, I agree. Melanie thinks the NWO is great, so that's good for her. My whole basis with this now is, where do we go from here and so forth? Beating this bloodline storyline to death. I don't know. I wish I had an answer for that. I mean, War Games matches are supposed to end the feuds, and then they're supposed to reintroduce something or whatever. And one of the big things I think that was surrounding in covering this War Games match, there was going to be a big surprise at the end. Somebody was going to show up. Paul Heyman was going to bring somebody. I think Brock Lesnar was trending. The Rock was trending, because they all thought somebody big was going to show up, probably because CM Punk did it last year. Vince, was it a big surprise that didn't happen?
I'll tell you what the surprise was to me. I think they've completely buried Seth Rollins. Because Seth Rollins' story was Joe, I got to tell you something. I really do believe Seth was supposed to be in the match. And then, bro, when it became obvious Seth was going to be in the match, I tweeted out accusing Triple H of writing a television with a crayon. And I really believe that they took that personally and threw Punk in there at the last minute, because this makes no sense. Because Seth Rollins, I don't want in. Then Solo screwed him in that match against. We have not seen Seth Rollins since. I was convinced, bro, the only way you're going to save Rollins is if he screws CM Punk, because he had a problem with Punk taking the spot and Punk went up them, and now you turn Rollins heel and he winds up screwing Punk and the babyface team loses. Bro, I think you've totally screwed Seth Rollins in this story.
Yeah, that is true. D-Lo, we were talking before the show started. You had a feeling that there might have been an audible called on this.
It felt like there was an audible, because if you go back and pay attention, there's a point where Roman Reigns is standing there looking at all the boys, and you can see the referee come up behind him, and I don't know if he was giving a cue or something, but you see Roman turn and look at the entrance, and then he's like almost like somebody was supposed to come out.
Yeah.
He was expecting it, and then it just didn't. And then they hung on to I've been around a lot of shows. You don't hang around the end of the show that long with the camera in the ring on the boys for no reason. Right. And it just felt like they were hanging there for something. Maybe it was a bait and switch. It just felt like everyone was expecting something, and it didn't happen. And I'm not sure if it was an audible out of it. I'm not sure if it was never planned. It just felt like there was something missing.
I'm going with the audible factor. I think somebody was supposed to show up, whether it was Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, highly doubtful, but and even, of course, The Rock, to address the fact that what's going on with the bloodline. My thing is, I think the crowd played a factor in this. For some reason, the crowd tonight, and it's probably because of the women's match, they were dead at times. And, they got chants going. But Vince, what did you think of the crowd in Vancouver tonight? They want to wrestle.
Yeah, there were spots. Yeah, there were spots where it was really, really, down. And again, Joe, maybe again, when we look at the formats of these war games, it doesn't officially start till everybody's in there. So why am I going to get excited until they say now the match officially? I think that's terrible, man. They that makes no sense. They need to change that, man.
D-Lo, what do you think?
Yeah, I go with you on that war games. There's no jeopardy. There's no jeopardy when the advantage is for the bad guys. There's no jeopardy of losing, and have that baby face in the cage wanting to get out.
Yeah, because think about this too, D-Lo and Joe. What is the point of locking Roman Reigns out of the cage?
Yeah,
they
can't win it. They can't win it if Reigns isn't in the cage.
Exactly.
And then it also bothered me too, because in the old war games there was a top on the cage, so you couldn't climb up.
Yeah,
but the whole night I'm going, when he locked cage, I'm like, well, Roman can just climb the cage.
Right.
That's why no one reacted when he climbed the cage, because it was obvious to everyone he could climb the cage.
Yeah.
I thought the funny part was, I love Roman's acting skills, by the way. Yeah, he finally gets out of his cage, goes over there, and he tries to open the door, and he asks the referee, "Where's the key?" But it was Solo Sikoa who locked it, so there was no key. But he's still asking the referee for a key. So I think the crowd played a role in this whole thing tonight. I think they didn't get the pops they wanted. During the high-profile spots, they got some good sound bites, but man, at times you can just hear them talking in the match, and it was dead. It was weird. It was eerie. So I don't know, strange to say the least. D-Lo looks like you got a fan here. Wrestlehead Meow Meow says, I'm a big D-Lo Brown fan, as well as I hope to see my comments so I can mark out LOL. There you go. D-Lo, say hi to Wrestlehead.
Wrestlehead, what's going on, dog? Recognize that.
All right, scale of 1 to 5. What do you think of the men's war game match?
I give it a 4.5, because I would have given it a 5 if there was a surprise or something more. So everybody worked hard, good storytelling, great intrigue, 4.5.
And Vince, what do you think?
I'm gonna agree with that because I want to keep Damian Priest and Gunther at a 5. I want to keep that as a 5 because that's what every wrestling match should look like. Every wrestling match should look like that. But these guys, I mean, they left nothing on the table. I mean, it was good, man. It was really good.
I mean, Bronson Reed coming up the top rope with that splash. I've done a splash with the top rope. That is, he made it look easy because he's good. That's some scary stuff up there. So I mean, really good work.
And I think Jacob Fatu was the star of that match as well. I think he hurt himself. Did you guys notice that? He was shaking his knee off. It looked like
I will argue against that. I believe he did that to make himself vulnerable.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
All right. You think he did that, Vince, on purpose? He was playing that up?
No, D'Lo knows, man. Come on, Joe. We can't question a wrestler, man. D'Lo knows, bro. D'Lo knows all the tricks.
I think that's an intentional chink in the armor to make the Samoan werewolf beatable and being able to lay on the table and get splashed. That was storytelling.
And going back to the men's war game match at the end, CM Punk was hugging Paul Heyman. I couldn't really make out what were they saying. Vince, did you hear anything?
Yeah, he said I'm going to come to you for a favor, and Heyman basically said I'll grant that favor. It might be who was I doing the show? I was doing the show with our friend Mac Davis yesterday. Stop and smell the roses. Mac thinks at Saturday night's main event we're going to get CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
You think so? Even after the handshake tonight? Even after the handshake?
Yeah, Mac thinks that's the favor that Punk wants. He wants a match with Reigns. So we may get that at the main event.
And I can even shaking hands, it's okay to have a competitive match between two baby faces just to see who's better.
I mean, Saturday nights, here's another thing that I was thinking about. Tonight's PLE is the last PLE technically until the Royal Rumble, February 1st. That's 63 days without a major PLE. So they're stacking up the Saturday night's main event card. That's only a 2-hour show with commercials, NBC, prime time, and then, all eyes on January 6th, the move to Netflix and so forth, where they're going to stack that show and probably treat it like a PLE. Vince, a 63-day layoff of PLEs. Are you for that?
Well, it's not even a 63-day layoff. I'm putting my writer's hat on now. D'Lo puts his wrestling hat on. I always go to D'Lo because I'm not a wrestler. I'm going to put my writer's hat on. Joe, this is one of the big 4 shows of the year. Yep. How in God's name is Cody Rhodes not defending his title? And then you're going to sit there and tell me what a great booker Triple H is? Are you I couldn't imagine Austin or Rock not being in the Survivor Series. That is a major flaw in the creative. That is horrible. That is incomprehensible that the champion did not have a match on Survivor Series.
I wrote a rant about that, Bill, after his newsletter. I expressed my disdain for that. This is like the second or third PLE in a row where he hasn't defended a title. I mean, we could have got a run in D'Lo, right? Say like some type of outside thing with him and Kevin Owens brawling while, hell, even when the ladies were wrestling, maybe mix it up with them.
You gotta have your world champion or your heavyweight champion represented, even in an interview. He could have been doing commentary. He's got to be seen on these events.
Joe, do you remember? I know you guys do. Remember Tuesday night in Texas?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Remember when Taker upset Hogan, I think, on a Saturday night, and they came back on? That's what they should have done here. They should have had Owens and Cody and got Owens over and then did the return match on the Saturday night's main event. That's what they should have done. To not have the champion on at all is a freaking joke.
Yeah, he's got to be represented.
They did mention it. Of course, it was great. Saturday night's main event. They did mention it. But, yes, I'm not happy with the fact that Triple H is not booking a world champion. You got Gunther on the card. Why not the other world champion?
Do you guys know? Here's a fun fact for you. The McDonough and Baylor They won the tag team titles in June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 6 months. D'Lo, guess how many times they defended the tag team titles in 6 months? Guess how many times?
5.
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice in 6 months, your tag team champions defended. Joe, how does that happen?
It's happening. It's happening.
Whatever happened, and maybe I'm too old school. Whatever happened to the 30-day rule?
That's what I keep asking, D'Lo. That's what I keep asking.
That's out the window now. There's no 30-day rule.
I mean, you can't say this guy is a great booker when the tag team titles are getting defended twice in 6 months.
Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And, just go back to the women's tag titles. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Jade's hurt now. And what happens to the tag titles? Because they're saying she's not coming back until January, Netflix, or even the Royal Rumble. That's over 90 days away. What do you do with the tag titles with that? Anybody? They're speechless. Yeah, see, that's a tough one. I don't know what to say about that one, but overall, the PLE on a scale of 1 to 5 for the whole event, Vince, what would you give it?
Well, you got to give it a positive because 3 out of the 5 matches were good. 3 out of the 5 were good, so you got to give it. You've got probably give the whole thing. I would probably give it a 4.
4.
Yeah.
Kilo, what would you give it?
A very solid 4. Very solid 4, and it's only being taken down because of the opening company matches. But it was a very solid effort all around, and a good way to end the year for premium live events.
Looks like Young Reckless is chiming in with a $1.99 donation. Cody and Gunther is a must because they're the big two. Interesting. What do you think, Vince? Cody and Gunther are going to meet up at some point?
Well, I mean, we just saw that at the Crown Jewel, Yeah. I mean, you got to get other people over. So you got to get Gunther in a program with somebody, and you got to get Cody in a program with somebody.
Nobody on the SmackDown roster for Cody right now. There's nobody. I mean, he just beat Carmelo Hayes again. He beat him the night of the draft. D'Lo Brown, what do you think? Cody and Gunther part 2 somewhere down the line?
You can't do it for a while. And if you do, then you got to put Gunther over. If not, it's too one-sided. So when's the next time you can have Cody and Gunther in the ring together without the world titles on the line? So that's the problem.
Yeah, we have a big problem here. Troll Pats, Drew will need a feud. Yeah, where's Drew McIntyre in all of this? I mean, where does he go now? I mean, CM Punk. To me, there's a lot of up in the air with this PLE. All these storylines, all these creative avenues they can go down. And we're left with, what now? Because watch Raw on Monday night now?
Because, Joe, that's the booking. There's no continuity. There's just no continuity. I mean, the stuff's all over the place. It changes from week to week. It's either they go on forever or none of it makes any sense. Like again, man. If I have a top guy like Seth Rollins, how am I not protecting Seth Rollins in this story?
Yeah, I mean, what happens on Monday night? Seth Rollins reappears, and Bronson Reed's in the bloodline now. Like, what? There are just so many questions, and there's no answers. And D'Lo, what do you do now? Is Monday night going to be nothing but little matches made up of the War Games match? What do you think?
At this point, you've got to start resetting because Royal Rumble is just around the corner. That leads into Mania season. So now you've got to kind of start setting those tables up for Mania.
Right.
So that's where I would go for the next. I mean, typically December into January, setting up for Rumble that leads to Mania.
Right. I believe we're on the road to WrestleMania after SummerSlam. I mean, the way the booking is, the way these feuds are going, they're stretched out. And I don't know. I just feel that this PLE overall, I'll give it a 4 because Damian Priest and Gunther saved that pay-per-view tonight, or PLE tonight. They did an amazing job. I mean, Vince, you called it storytelling. Selling that arm, the whole match was just, I mean, that's hard to do, D'Lo, isn't it?
It's hard to do because if you're not used to it, you tend to forget it. And you go on to the next thing in the match and you forget oh my God,
Right.
my arm is hurt. So
Right.
I give Damian a lot of props because he sold his arm for 20 minutes.
Right.
And even after the end of the match, he's sitting there holding his arm. Like someone drilled it into him, sell, and he did.
I tell you what they missed though, Joe, that I would have done. Here's what I think they missed. Because when Baylor came out and stomped Priest and then Gunther laid out Baylor,
Yeah.
I think after the match, Gunther should have helped up Priest and shook his hand.
Yeah, that would have been good. And he usually does that. He usually does that with his opponents.
I think that would have been huge for Gunther. But I would not be surprised if they come back on Monday night and Gunther, verbally puts him over. I would not be surprised.
Right.
And I'm gonna nitpick a little bit. I wish Finn had not come out and give the coup de grace to the gut. I wish he'd get it to the arm.
Okay.
Good call. Dude.
And then Gunther goes and hooks him for the, I wish he'd just done it to the arm to really impact the arm.
Yeah. I mean, you get the double stomp there. Melody's chiming in saying Priest versus Finn Balor. Yeah, you're probably going to get that on Monday night.
And that's a total waste of time.
You're going to get Priest Finn Balor.
And that's a total waste of time because Finn Balor will never beat Damian Priest, man. And nobody would believe that he could. So that's just useless.
To put my booking hat on it, I'd say, they'll fight. Something will happen with Judgment Day coming out. And, of course, maybe we'll get a tag team championship match down the road, and Priest will cost Finn the tag team title or something like that. I mean, there are directions they can go, but I'm at a loss right now. I mean, no surprises. I was really expecting someone to show up tonight to give that oh my God factor. Because if you go back to last year, CM Punk showed up and broke the internet, and we're not getting that this year.
Joe, I got to tell you what the word out on the street is.
What's that?
Word on the street is Rock is going to be in the Rumble. He's going to win the Rumble. Okay. And it's Rock and Cody at WrestleMania. And if that's what they're planning, if that's what they're hanging their hat on, none of this matters. Nothing else matters. If that's what they're doing, between now and WrestleMania, nothing else will matter.
What if you got Rock and Rhodes on night one? What about Rock and Roman and Rock night two? What do you think about that?
Well, remember you got Cena in that picture too.
Cena's got to do his retirement tour.
Yeah, so
wow. You think
that's what they're banking on. They're banking on Cena and Rock. I mean, that's what they're banking on. That's why all of this it really is just fodder because they know they got Rock in the back pocket and they know they got Cena in the back pocket.
Yeah. Do you think Cena's going to get another title run, D'Lo?
No, I think it'll be it's the old retiring NBA star who's going to go visit the arenas and get his gifts on the way out and have a great one night at Mania and then help somebody out and give them the rub and go disappear in the night. That's my feeling.
You think he's going to put anybody over? You think a Braun Breaker match, Vince, could be?
I don't know, man. They got to be careful, man, because, if I'm Cena, like he put Austin Theory over and they did nothing with Austin Theory. If I'm Cena, I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing that again. I mean, he's come on, man. That was such a massive waste.
Yeah, I feel like Austin Theory's been punished because he was Vince McMahon's boy, and ever since Triple H has taken over, this guy's been on the clownmobile.
Yeah.
What do you think, D'Lo? Austin Theory just not being pushed anymore?
He was definitely a favorite of the last regime. You just leave it like that.
Yeah, you're very self-evident with that. So right there. Looks like I'm getting the old wrap it up on my producer side of things. I want to thank D'Lo Brown and Vince Russo for coming on the show. D'Lo, you got anything going on?
You just follow me on Twitter. It's X now, at D'Lo Brown 75. I'll always let you know where I'm going. I'm involved with a company with Vince out in Denver, Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling. We do a lot of great work out there. Be out there next week. So that's usually where I'm headed. I'm always around wrestling somewhere.
There you go. Vince, do I have to ask you what's going on?
Yeah, I'm gonna give Sportskeeda a plug here. The Backstage Pass, man. Me and my boy Mac Davis. We review SmackDown right after the show every Friday night. Check out the Backstage Pass on Sportskeeda.
Yeah, I'm involved with the Backstage Pass too. We got John Bradshaw, Layfield, and Gerald Briscoe. I host a show called What Were They Thinking, where we take some crazy ass storylines. A lot of them are from the Attitude Era, by the way. And now we're starting to get special guest stars coming on. We got Mark Henry coming on. Eric Bischoff stopped by the show the last time, so that was pretty good. And of course, we got Tuesday night Q&A with Bill Apter and Joe at WrestleVotes Radio. Joe has an insider at WWE. He gets some good stuff. And he tweeted out tonight that there was dead silence from all his contacts at WWE. So he was under the assumption that something big was going to happen. And Dio, I'm going to end it with, I'm calling it. There was an audible call tonight. Somebody was supposed to show up, and they called it. They changed it, and I'm going to say that. And Young Reckless chiming in with $4.99. Will they get rid of the women's tag belt for women's mid belt? Because they mean nothing. You guys, WrestleMania predictions, please. No Cody versus Rock versus Roman is money. I don't know, guys. What do you think of that one, Vince? Mania. Who's the main event in Mania?
No, I think they're going to have Rock. I think you'll get Rock and Romans, but I think you're going to get Rock and Cody at Mania.
Rock and Cody. What do you think, D'Lo?
Definitely Rock and Roman because that's a money match. We're supposed to get that a couple years ago, and then I'm going with Rock and Cody because that's another money match where you can build 2 nights on.
All right, good stuff there. All right, we're going to end the show here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. All the comments, we tried to get to them. We had a good audience tonight, so thank you for tuning in. You can get Vince and D'Lo Brown all over the place. They have good shows and stuff, and of course, Sportskeeda. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Great programming coming. Yep, there it is. Slam the like button, and that's going to do it for us here. It was a 4 overall PLE Survivor Series War Games. So I'm going to say goodbye now. So I'm Joe Lowry for Sportskeeda Wrestling. Everyone take care. Have a good night.